Moving into adulthood can be a crossroads full of life-altering decisions. You have to choose a career, find community, and discover the role faith and service can play in your future.
You graduate college, now you're not around everyone your age. Now you're in the real world. You started your first job, and just finding community and finding friends is hard. Finding a church that you like can be hard. Deciding whether you want to be a part of church or not is a decision that you're going to have to make. I think it's super important for this age range to be able to find friends in that community and a safe space to be able to be themselves and figure out what God's all about, and loving each other well and just figuring out where they are in life.
You leave the college life, if you got to go to a Christian college that has an incredible church, an incredible community, and everything's great, and then you get into the real world and you may be stuck in a more, a different style of church than you're used to. And finding a community is a lot more difficult. Maybe there's like one or two people your age instead of hundreds, and it's just super hard.
For more than 3 decades, Maranatha has hosted a mission trip for teens called The Ultimate Workout. It has been wildly successful, bringing connection and community to thousands of students over the years. But it also left the growing group of young people without a space for their next chapter. So Maranatha created a mission opportunity specifically for 18 to 28-year-olds. It was through this that a collegiate and young adult project was born, eventually renamed Catalyst, a mission experience designed to spark change in the lives of young adults and the world around them.
I think it's to bridge, especially the ones that have gone on like a UW before. That trip is incredible, and they've perfected that experience where the kids get a chance to just be taken away from a normal environment. They're stuck with a bunch of people their age. And so for us, we wanted to create just something in between where you can go from that incredible on fire experience to, okay, now we're a little bit older, different problems, different walks of life, different maturity issues.
For the inaugural project in June 2023, 22 volunteers traveled to Peru to serve in the community of Izcuchaca. The young adults hailed from various locations and backgrounds and had different reasons drawing them to service.
I ended up on this mission trip because my aunt told me about the Maranatha mission group, and I always wanted to go on a mission trip. So I was very excited, and I looked for the most recent or upcoming trip, and I signed up. And while signing up, my mom and my aunts were telling me about Maranatha itself and how they aided in building our home church in Jamaica. So I found that to be very interesting, to be a part of an organization that impacted both my family and my church at large at Jamaica.
I think one of the best parts of this experience for me has been getting to meet and get to know like-minded people of ministry my age and partnering with them to make an immediate difference within communities. That's something that I think my generation is passionate about, but not necessarily, they're not necessarily provided with the avenues to actually fulfill or develop that passion, which is why I think like mission trips like what Maranatha is doing with Catalyst is so important.
Sometimes with our friends, we like to fit in and we like to just, relax. We're young, we have time. But to see young people coming on this trip and claiming the word catalyst, wanting to spark a change, it was very surprising for me. And I think it really meant something for me that I'm not the only one that want to make a change as a young person.
Their project was centered around the construction of a new church for the Izcuchaca Seventh-day Adventist Church. This congregation originated in the late 1990s and initially met in a home before they built a structure for themselves here. Unfortunately, the space has been too small for their growing congregation. Now, as part of Maranatha's effort in Peru, Izcuchaca is receiving a new church. It was easy for them to see how their work would make an impact for the congregation.
I think that one of the biggest struggles for communities of worship is not having a space to consistently meet in and to call their own. So something that we're going to be able to provide for them is a place where they can feel secure in and really make their own and worship God in the way that is most meaningful to them, in a space that they don't have to worry about. There's a sense of security and stability and safety that comes with having your own worship space.
In my point of view, I think putting a church out here may give more of the community an initiative to come, you know. Maybe some of the people who don't know Christ or what Seventh-day Adventism is about, they see a big church up, a new church made, you know, they're walking by the street and they say, oh, look at this is a huge building that's being constructed. May give them initiative to want to check it out one of these days, you know, to see what it's like. And hopefully that's all it takes for God to reach out to some of these people, you know, to spread out His gospel and touch some of these the community's hearts.
The group also spent time conducting outreach, such as medical clinics and classes for children. A big part of the mission experience was building relationships with peers and with God. Worships were designed to encourage and challenge, and helped to focus thoughts on what God wants to do in their lives.
It feels like God's working more into me, and it may be also because I'm accepting it more, but I think this trip really puts a foundation, you know, also that that God is truly amazing and He's really watching over us all. Something I struggle with a lot is contentment. I like to go shopping and buy new things, you know, just maybe even window shop sometimes. But I think really a mission trip, for me, it speaks that this world is much more than, you know, what you can have. It's really what you can give. So I think that's what is really a treasure for some of the younger population to definitely see.
I did leave the church. I grew up in the church, and then I left the church because of the people. And that's really rough to say, and I think maybe that's not what people want to hear, but there's some people that are just not the greatest. But coming here and seeing how hopeful people were, the community, to just have walls. That's it, just walls. And it was so simple that it made things so much better. Helped me see things from a different perspective, get my head out of my phone.
As they watched the walls rise, members dreamt about what this new structure meant for their future.
Va a ser un cambio grande, ¿no? Porque, como le decía, nos reuníamos en un pequeño lugar donde que habíamos unos cuantos y no había cómo traer a la demás gente y que sea partícipe de los cultos, ¿no? Y aparte de eso, que no tenía tal vez una buena imagen de iglesia. Ahora va a ser un templo bonito, tiene cara de iglesia realmente, y es más amplio, y realmente se va a sentirse la alabanza, la consagración, ¿no? En ese lugar, y vamos a poder traer más personas, ¿no? Que a veces nos daba un poquito de vergüenza traer a otras personas, decir, vamos a mi iglesia, ¿no? Y que vean que no es una iglesia, sino que es una casita, ¿no? Pero ahora sí, vamos a mi iglesia y ya es una iglesia, ¿no? Y eso va a ser lo maravilloso.
The help the congregation received from volunteers also showed the entire town of Izcuchaca that they are part of a worldwide faith community that loves and cares for each other.
Me alegra también pertenecer a la iglesia, ¿no? A esta iglesia adventista, ¿no? Porque no es una iglesia pequeña, ¿no? Es una iglesia mundial que tiene varias instituciones y una de estas es Maranata, ¿no? que construye los templos, así como la parte educativa también lo está. Entonces somos una iglesia que no es un grupo ahí minúsculo, pequeñito, ¿no? Somos parte de un pueblo organizado, de una iglesia mundial. Que estoy muy agradecido con la iglesia, con el grupo Maranata, y agradecido a Dios porque Él nunca desampara a sus hijos, ¿no? Y Él siempre provee.
When they get there the first week and we literally just have a steel structure and a slab, and then a week later they come and it's done. Like that's like almost like the homemaker show where they're like, move the bus, and that like the whole house is done. It's kind of like that feeling for us, where it's like really gratifying when they walk in. We've had a couple of community members walk by throughout the week, and just watching their eyes like light up, like wow, like we were just here a couple days ago and there was nothing, and now it's almost a church, right? And so we're really excited to wrap it up, and we're so close to finishing. And yeah, I think church, being able to watch them just excited that this is their home now and they can enjoy that, is pretty gratifying.
The work the volunteers completed was more than leaving a physical structure. Their time in Izcuchaca made an impact on members who want to follow in their footsteps of service.
Ahora que también estoy estudiando y espero algún día ser parte de este grupo tan hermoso, ¿no? De Maranata, y tal vez también irme a construir iglesias a otros lados, ¿no? Y sentirme orgulloso como se sienten ellos también de hacer cada acto, ¿no? Y veo la alegría de cada hermano, que cómo pone el ladrillo, cómo apoya, cómo va haciendo todo como unas hormiguitas, ¿no? Y uno da ganas de ser parte de esas hormiguitas.
And this catalyst did spark and re-spark change in the lives of the volunteers.
I think it reaffirms the way I see the soon return of Jesus. You know, I think that it's very important for us to get out and do every little bit that we can to help spread the word and spread the love. And I think having an actual building inside of a community that people can see and say, oh, that's a church. Look, they got people from another country that came and helped them build it. I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for the local congregation to share with the community.
This trip impacts how I see the world because it shows me how much of a catalyst I need to be. Being on this mission trip, it shows me that everywhere you go, you can truly make a change. And that's exactly what we're doing here in Peru. So from now on, I kind of see the world as something that is waiting on me to spark a change. Like it's just there. The world is just there. I just need to step out, of course, with God and make that change. You know, so many people that need to see God work, and so many people that could utilize our help, and being the middleman between God and His people is very important for me.